Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jacob with Unleashing Intuition Secrets, joined once again by Chris Burris, ESS60 scientist. So yeah, I had a dream. I was just remembering from last night where there was a threat against me, for my physicality, and I took ESS60, and it kept me safe. So that was kind of an interesting dream. So when dreams like that come through, they're a good indicator that you're on the right path, or you need to stay on this path. So that's pretty cool.
It's really cool because you're actually and I don't know, pre C60 Evo, post C60 Evo, if you were remembering your dreams. I was not, and since I've been taking the product regularly, I don't remember them every night, right? And I don't know that I ever had a period of my life that I did, but I definitely remember them a lot more. There was a long stretch of time that I was like, I'm not sure. I mean, you dream, right? Like the data shows that you dream, like every human dreams.
Yeah.
But there was long stretches where I didn't have, I don't remember any dreams, and so it's kind of cool to be back to that.
Yeah, very good. And there's, I have. I don't always wake up remembering my dreams, but during the day, I'll have snippets that will come through, and I'm like, I've been having these dreams about these things for a long time, and it's like this whole world that I'm in this dreamland. So it's kind of cool. But yeah, I don't always remember them in detail. Sometimes I do. I'm almost always really. I'm coming out and I'll recognize, oh, that's a dream. And then I wake up and I kind of dismiss it. But yeah, I'm dreaming every night, no doubt about it.
It is one of these kind of interesting things, right? Our most consistent testimonial is people take the product in the morning, they report mental focus and energy during the day, and then better sleep at night. First, very unique to take something in the morning and positively impact sleep. But I've had conversations, probably over the last 2 months. There were 2 conversations with people that we got some product to, and they're like, yeah, I'm not, and they feel bad, right? And if you hear the story today, I never really wanted to be in the supplement industry. I'm excited when people have a great experience on it. And for that small percentage who don't, I'm okay, because I didn't invent this to solve any, it's not a personal affront to me. What typically happens, though, is they go off the product and then they're like, oh, now I recognize what I'm missing. But in this case, 2 people are like, I'm sorry to share, I haven't really noticed anything. I'm like, well, how about your dreams? And their eyes, get Bambi big, and like, oh yeah, I've been remember my dreams. One guy was having apocalyptic dreams, but he was chill. Right? Like, I don't know how that happened. I don't know how that math works, but he's like, I was totally chill in this apocalyptic situation. And like, yeah. And what we think is going on, and we'll talk a little bit about the kind of mitochondria, the fact that there's 2 million mitochondria in every brain cell. You do about 6 or 7 sleep cycles every night. These are, deep sleep, REM sleep, and what's called NREM sleep, so not REM sleep. You do these about 6 or 7 cycles per night. And in each of these, there's kind of a checklist of things that you got to go through: repair mitochondria, repair, physiology, etc. And if you're on top of your mitochondria, that gives that checklist is done. And so you can move on to the next thing. And there's more time for emotional processing, which is the dreams, right? And memory consolidation. People are reporting better memories and having better memory. So it just makes sense with the boss theory.
Yeah, that's amazing. And we're gonna like do an overview of a lot of stuff that we've covered. We're gonna have that interesting Patty story and how you got into it, because I'm kind of like you. I was like, I'm a secret guy. I'm not going to come out into the public. That'll never happen for me.
He says on camera.
But, life changes, and you're called to do more for humanity, and I think that's fantastic for the world that you've come out like this. Now here's a little question. Of course, might have to do a disclaimer here. Hello, Jacob, Chris, New York City here. I take meds. Is it safe? Thyroid, high pressure, cholesterol. Is it safe to take? And will it help me get rid of my meds? Thank you, gents.
Well, first I want to start with, we're about to talk about a rat study where the rats extended their life, well, where our product extended the lives of these rats by 90%. And I often get two responses when people share that. The first is from New Yorkers. Why would we want rats to live longer? Chris, you're an evil person. We need to bury this research. Just thought I'd throw that out there. So there are no counterindications, right? If you're talking about a serious medication, you want to continue to monitor that with your physician, and maybe even ask him. He may not have heard of this, but he can dig into the research that's available. But we do not have any contraindications with any medications, any processes, exercise routines, any supplementation. We just don't have any negative side effects.
Yeah, very good. Great answer. And, of course, we have some people have great, experiences. I believe C60 Evo has been very beneficial to my health and sleep as well as my skin. So that's, that's a great, thank you for that testimonial. There's lots of testimonials. Of course, Chris and I have great testimonials, but we're the guys promoting this. And you're like, you guys are just promoting this because you want to make some money. No, we're promoting this because we want to help humanity. And that's why both of us, Chris being a scientist, one of my dreams at one point in my life. And I went the Navy SEAL CIA route rather than scientists. But, I appreciate, Chris and scientists, they're under microscopes and, doing their physics and all that kind of stuff. They're not normally out in front of public. They write, great papers and articles and so forth that inform humanity, but rarely come out like Chris has. And, and me. You rarely see Navy SEALs, and definitely Navy SEAL CIA type that will come out and speak. One of the things that I've learned is, I speak and I share insights on what's going on in the world, but other aspects that I feel is just as important as people's health, especially these days. So that's why I really like to share, information like this.
Yeah, it's, it kind of landed in a dream place that frankly I could have not dreamed of, which is I get to be the geeky, sciencey guy in front of you and share geeky science and push research forward, and then turn around and reap all the benefits. And the benefits are these testimonials that are coming in, like knowing that the product is going out the door, it's a high quality product, and then it having a positive impact on lives, getting reviews like testimonials like we just got, yours, my experience, like I couldn't be happier. Like just every day I couldn't be happier.
Yeah. And you have people that win, these science prizes or whatever, we've talked about that. Tell us a little bit about the guy that won the science prize for the C60 Evo.
Yeah, well, it really fits with the first slide that I have kind of pulled up. And I'm going to walk you through a little bit of my journey. And I'll tell you, I never wanted to be in the supplement industry. Like it's just not where I wanted to be. And I'll kind of explain that as I go through this. So this is the molecule. Let me see if I can get my little laser pointer here. This is the molecule. We call it ESS60. It was discovered in 1985 at Rice University. The three scientists who discovered it won the Nobel Prize in 1996. So that's Dr. Smalley, Dr. Curl, and Dr. Croto. Very proud to share my lab provided them. My lab was manufacturing and distributing the molecule 5 years prior to them awarding the Nobel Prize. Wow. Getting awarded the Nobel Prize. So in 1991, we are the oldest and longest manufacturers and distributors of this molecule on the planet. This molecule is amazing, right? And as my business partner Robert and I run in the lab, we're happy-go-lucky carbon nanomaterial scientists, and we're manufacturing this molecule. The molecule performs as well or better than the current best material in almost every application. So it makes better inks, better batteries, better tires, better photocells. And not many people think of that in terms of a health product, right? Like inks, batteries, tires, and photocells. I doubt anybody in your audience woke up this morning, looked at their car battery and thought, I wonder what part of my car battery I should be taking on a daily basis for my health. Like hopefully nobody's doing that.
Yeah.
And the story gets a little worse first. So this shape right on the front is the same shape. It's not the same formula, but the same shape as benzene. Benzene is ubiquitous in our society. So if you just glance around you, everything that's made of plastic without the benzene ring would be gone, right? It is that foundational molecule. It's the foundational molecule of many medicines, including aspirin. So without benzene, we don't have modern society. But benzene, when it's on its own, is known to be toxic and known to be carcinogenic. And because that shape, again, shape, not formula, but because that shape exists 20 times on the exterior of the soccer ball shaped molecule, they thought the molecule would be toxic. Now the story starts to change in the right direction. They put it in a toxicity study. And in that toxicity study, there were 3 groups of rats: Wistar rats, olive oil rats as a semi-control group, and then olive oil with the ESS60 molecule. The Wistar rats typically live out 32 months. That's what happened to the water rats, right? They weren't nothing special about them. They were the control. The olive oil rats lived out to 38 months, so an 18% extension of life. I wholeheartedly believe, even if you don't take my product, whatever olive oil you're taking, you probably should take more. It is a healthy oil for you. But 18% is nothing compared to the 90% extension of life out here. And so the next aspect of the study is that a Wistar rat lives about 32 months and has a known amount of tumor mass in its body. The longer it lives, the more tumor mass it has in its body. You can see this mass is growing. Even though the C60 Evo rats lived out to 62 months, none of them had any tumors, right? So if you were to project this out, they should have had some massive amount of tumors out here. Instead of having massive amounts of tumors, they had no tumors. Really found it. I've told this story to people and they're like, oh, cure for cancer. And I'm like, whoa, no. And then I'd like to add another no for clarity. There's a big difference between dealing with a cancer that has metastasized and potentially being a cancer preventative. We know things as simple as good nutrition, good exercise, good sleep are cancer preventatives. This piece of the story throws it in there. So now you think about this. I'm a happy-go-lucky carbon nanomaterial scientist. This study comes out in 2012. By the way, our lab, it's called the Bati study out of the University of Paris. Our lab provided the material, and our lab is mentioned in that original study. So we're the originators, effectively, of this research. So now that changed my trajectory, right? Happy-go-lucky carbon nanomaterial scientist, now in the direction of getting into the health space. But I didn't want to get to, actually, my business partner, Robert, and I didn't want to get into the health space. You've looked for supplements. You've heard of a supplement. And when you hear of a new supplement that you might be interested in, you're like, oh, man, now I got to find a good one. Right? Like you're in your head, you're going, I got to find a manufacturer who's probably going to deliver a good quality. It's just nerve wracking. And so we really didn't want to get into this industry. And in fact, in the conference room right behind this wall behind me, Robert and I would get together every 6 months and be like, do we want to get into the supplement industry? And just, quarter after quarter after quarter, we were saying no. Finally, this is kind of fun. Well, what happened? So this study comes out in mid-2012. In mid-2013, this crazy, wacky group of people called biohackers, you can see them here kind of depicted as this crazy, wacky group. They're like, hey, Chris and Robert, that stuff that those rats took and extended their lives by 90%, how much of that stuff should we take? And Robert and I, what we heard, right, as conservative carbon nanomaterial scientists was, hey, that stuff you sell to research institutions around the world to put into ink, batteries, tires, and photocells, how much of that stuff should you take? Should we take? And we thought the answer should be zero. We actually added not for human consumption to our labeling in mid-2013. So think about that. From 1991, when we start manufacturing, all the way to mid-2013, we don't have not for human consumption on the labeling. Mid-2013, we decided that that's the prudent thing to do. Let me be clear. In the literature, this molecule's safe, right? We're just conservative carbon nanomaterial scientists. We really don't want to get into the supplement industry, so we have not for human consumption on the labeling. And again, every quarter we're getting together. Do we want to get into it? In fact, things changed in 2017, but between 2013 and 2017, I found a research paper that said that 50% of the supplements that this research group had purchased off the market didn't have in them what they said they had in them. right? Like, this is a challenged industry, and it just confirmed to Robert and I, we don't want to get in this industry. Now, that finally changed at the latter part of 2017. A guy with a big YouTube following, as you know, that's how things change all the time these days, started talking about all the benefits he was getting, taking on a daily basis. By the way, he was working with Patty. So this is where Patty comes into the story, and she'll, gladly say Patty's big mouth kind of changed the trajectory of us getting this into the health and wellness business. So 2017, I missed one piece. Between 2017 and 2013, 2017, we were getting 2 to 3 phone calls per week. And what those calls sounded like were, "Hey, Chris, my knee pain is John." And then me going, "Hey, Joe," my knee pain is gone. And me going, "Hey, Joe, you mean the knee pain of your rat, right? Because it literally says not for human consumption on the labeling." And then he would go, "Hey, yeah, great. If my rat weighs 275 pounds and does HIIT training on Wednesdays and Fridays, should I take more? I mean, should the rat take more on Wednesdays and Fridays?" And we're like, "Oh, okay, Joe. Like, yes, the answer is yes, but it's your rat, right? It's Joe the rat." So we knew what was going on. And again, because in the literature it was safe, we were okay with it. We just didn't want to get in the supplement industry. Then this guy and Patty, they start talking about all the benefits they're getting, taking it on a daily basis. Our phone changes from ringing 2 to 3 times per week to 10 times per day. So at that quarterly meeting, we're like, okay, this is a bigger opportunity than we realized. I wish we were smarter. And I looked back to that paper where 50% of the supplements on the market don't have in them what they say they have in them. And we thought, we're the oldest and longest manufacturer of this molecule on the planet. We've got the exacting standards of a lab. We've been delivering it to scientists, the most stringent clients that you could possibly have successfully. We really owe it to the industry to get into it. And so we decided that we had to ask ourselves 2 questions before we did that. The first question was a moral question. Are we comfortable selling it? So I take it, you take it, Patty takes it, my wife takes it, everybody on our team here takes it. By the way, that's not a requirement to work here. You don't clock in and then somebody's like making sure you take your serving of C60 Evo. But they actually have access to the research like anybody else. And probably more importantly and more impactful, they hear all the testimonials coming in through the customer service department. And so, yes, everybody takes it here. Yes, we're comfortable saying it. The next is a legal question, right? So we've got the FDA and the FTC. You can see their logos down here. You got to cross the T. You got to dot the I's. We did both of those things, and we continue to do both of those things. And that's really when we partnered with Patty and started bringing this forward. And that's kind of the fun story, right? And then we connected with you. You've become a fan of the product. We're a fan of your show. And so we've had these great collaborations. I'll share just a couple testimonials, and maybe we can get to yours. We're a really weird supplement company, and I'll talk a little bit more about the research that we're pushing forward. But when I say we're a weird supplement company, I really do mean it in the best possible way. Most supplement companies do not do research, and even fewer publish that research. We published in 2024, 2025. We'll be publishing this year. We're going to be hopefully starting, it's going to be tight, but hopefully we're going to be starting 4 clinical trials before the end of this year. If not shortly thereafter. I've just got to be, honest with this kind of time-consuming process. But one thing that we've done is this crossover study. So this is a sleep study. And the way this study worked is we collect survey data it was a small cohort of people, but we collect survey data from them asking, how do you rate your sleep? How easy was it to fall asleep? How restless was your sleep? And we asked them for 10 days to give us survey data prior to taking the product, and then 10 days on the product, 10 days back off the product, and 10 days back on the product. So you can see off, on, off, on, and you see across the board in this data, this is the aggregate of the data, improvements in sleep when they're taking the product. Even more importantly, at the level of the individual participants, everyone reported improvements in sleep when they were taking the product. And the reality is, if you improve your sleep, you're going to improve your mental, physical, and emotional well-being. Why might we be improving sleep? We kind of already touched on, hey, if your mitochondria is in good shape, you can work on the other aspects of your sleep, getting that real deep rest. That's because of this BOSS theory. So the BOSS theory stands for buffering oxidative stress system. What gives credibility to this? By the way, you just wave your hand. I know I'm on a roll, and if you want to interject, raise your hand, and I'll slow down. So forgive me if I just keep going. I do get really excited, as you know, Michael.
No, that's you're passionate about this because it's so incredible. Now,
Yeah.
for me, the sleep is very important because good sleep, deep sleep, is basically restorative. If you're having issues or whatever, if you have deep sleep, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get recovery. If you're not getting good sleep, then whatever you're suffering from is probably going to continue. So this is very important. Another thing, being a Navy SEAL and bodybuilder and so forth, supplementation is extremely important. That's why I was attracted to C60 Evo, and it's in a liquid form. The liquid form basically is absorbed by the body a lot easier and faster and more efficiently than capsulized powder product or whatever. So that's one of the things I love about this. This in the dream that I had was where I had there was Ebola was infecting everybody. We know that they've talked about how it's basically in Africa, it's exploding to the point where this is probably going to be the largest Ebola outbreak ever.
Wow.
We just had somebody, 2 people in Israel were confirmed with it, and just recently in France. So it seems to be, unfortunately, spreading. So that was part of my dream, that it was spreading. And I believe that the reason why I got a really good hit from C60 Evo is because it's a preventative. And they talk about that. The best defense against Ebola is you're healthy. So So you want to have something in your body that's really going to help support that.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that was even, during COVID, the biggest challenges were with people who had, comorbidities, who had other health challenges. So being on the offensive, right? A good defense is a great offense. Well, the best defense is a good offense. So the offense is like, let's make sure our system is operating at the peak level. And given the fact that there's 50 to 5,000 mitochondria in every cell in your body, except for blood cells, right? So blood cells have 0, and your brain and neurons have 2 million. So amazing how much energy our nervous system uses relative to our other systems. So given how important the mitochondria is, if you're working at the level of the mitochondria, that's the best offense, right? In this context, the best defense, right? And so we can hop in here, right? So mitochondria, powerhouse of every cell. What gives credibility to this BOSS theory is from peer-reviewed published research. We know that this ESS60 molecule gets into the mitochondria. We also know from way back in the 90s that this molecule can hold up to 6 negatively charged particles on the exterior of the cage. You see that here. How does this play out, right? So mitochondria, powerhouse of every cell, like every power source, there is a negative byproduct. You think about your car going down the road, there's exhaust. You think about a power plant, there's a smokestack. In the case of mitochondria, it's reactive oxygen species. I like to picture these reactive oxygen species, if they're left to their own devices, they're like little bumper cars, right? And everything they run around in your body, they smack into, they cause rust, they cause oxidative stress, oxidative damage, and ultimately inflammation. And you can see here in a healthy mitochondria, those reactive oxygen species depicted as this nice, tranquil baby blue color, because they've been bonded with the internal antioxidants, glutathione and melatonin. These are the ones that help manage the reactive oxygen species. But what happens when you stress a mitochondria? Like if a disease like Ebola or COVID or a really tough workout, right? You know, you've probably been on missions where you know you're going to get sick afterwards, right? Because you have to push yourself. I'm just guessing, but where you know there are times in your lives where you're pushing yourself so hard, right? You're maybe not getting enough sleep and you're not eating the best food or whatever, and then you end up sick afterwards because you're just wearing down your body. That's where you're stressing your mitochondria. And when you stress your mitochondria, you end up producing more reactive oxygen species than can be managed internally. So you think about, in this image, you've got some of the reactive oxygen species are baby blue, right? Because they're bonded with the available glutathione and melatonin. But by the way, I didn't mention this, but melatonin at the level of the mitochondria, ESS60 at the level of the mitochondria, melatonin is the sleep hormone. Our most consistent testimonial involves sleep, right? So really good parallels there. But in this case, you see some of the reactive oxygen species are bonded with the glutathione and melatonin, and the extra ones, if they're left to their own devices, again, they run around the body, everything they smack into oxidative stress, oxidative damage. And that's where the ESS60 molecule comes in. It's holding on to up to 6 of those negatively charged particles so they can't do any damage. And then when that mitochondria can replenish the glutathione, replenish the melatonin, then it can manage those reactive oxygen species appropriately. I don't know if have I shared my Mardi Gras analogy with you?
I don't remember that now.
Okay, so this is this is kind of fun. So I think all biological analogies should start with Mardi Gras, right? I'm gonna stop this. I've got one more slide, but if you want to pull the screen down, we could pull the slides down for a little bit. Okay. So you know, I think all biological analogies should start with Mardi Gras just because it's fun. Also because a lot of biology happens at Mardi Gras. So, so why not? So it's the end of Mardi Gras and you have these drunk reactive oxygen species running around on Bourbon Street, right? Causing oxidative stress, smashing windows, spray painting cars. And you have the New Orleans Police Department, the glutathione and the melatonin coming onto Bourbon Street, handcuffing themselves to those reactive oxygen species and getting them off of Bourbon Street. But what happens when the New Orleans Police Department gets overwhelmed? They take those reactive oxygen species and they put them in a paddy wagon. They attach them to the exterior of the ESS60 cage so they can't run around like little bumper cars. And then when the New Orleans Police Department can replenish the glutathione, replenish the melatonin, then they can handcuff themselves to those reactive oxygen species and get them off of Bourbon Street. And so that's why we say the ESS60 molecule is the boss, buffering oxidative stress system. And the real summary, I'll give you kind of 2 summaries. One is we're reducing the negative impact of stressed mitochondria. And given how many mitochondria we have, if you reduce the negative impact of stress mitochondria, you should have systemic benefits. You should have what we have, which are head to toe testimonials. And Patty likes to break it down and she just says, this is detoxing. And a lot of supplements are excited to share with you that they operate at the cellular level. Maybe they detox at the cellular level. We don't operate at that level. We operate at the subcellular level, at the level of the mitochondria, detoxing in the mitochondria. And that's why we have these head to toe testimonials. Last little slide, people will often ask.
So we got a question. Were you at when you came up with this?
Where, I have been very fortunate.
I've always wanted to go there, but I've been to Bourbon Street and I can't imagine a Mardi Gras on Bourbon Street. Oh my God.
So I'm pretty close. I'm based in Houston and my sister used to go to Tulane. So I would go stay with her during Mardi Gras. Nice. And it's pretty crazy. Like it's not necessarily a good decision and you don't really walk down Bourbon Street. The crowd carries you down Bourbon. So like you just go where they go and you can cross Bourbon Street on the cross streets. Right. And then that's what we would do. It's pretty crazy. It's crazy all the time, but during Mardi Gras, I've
loved over the years. I always make it if I'm traveling across country, I'll dip down and do a Bourbon Street. I love the food, of course, and go listen to the music. So it's a fun place, but kind of like along the same lines, if they're, out there partying, getting a little crazy, if you have C60 Evo, that's basically helping the neurons, You know, you got 2,000. How many? 2,000?
2 million.
2 million?
It's crazy. Like it's a number. You're like, nah. Okay, yeah. And I like the first time I saw it, I was like, all right, let me check 2 other sources to make sure that number is accurate. There's 50 to 5,000 every cell, like your muscle cell, liver cell. I think there's a little bit more, higher end, 50,000 in your heart cell, but your brain and neurons have 2 million. Like it's
holy smokes.
It's and given, right, this actually just supports the boss theory even more.
Yeah.
Because our most consistent testimonial is focus and energy and better sleep. All 3 of those things, focus, energy, and better sleep, are brain focused.
Yeah, that's funny. We're kind of like, kidding in the chat. There's people out there that have TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. And I said, yeah, they could really benefit from C60 Evo. So yeah, we're having a good laugh about that. So it seems like, people are compromised. Some people, I'm just an open-minded guy, yeah. I literally voted for Obama the first time. I'm sorry, but whatever. I was fooled by a lot of people, like a lot of people were. Maybe my mitochondria and my brains weren't really firing correctly. So that's been correct.
You were 1 million short.
only had 1 million I'm working. So yeah. So this is amazing.
I've had just talking about Trump derangement syndrome. Like I've got a good buddy of mine. He started a mortgage company here in Houston, and is, I thought, like a normal human. and we got to a lunch, and he just started saying everything that man does is bad. And I was like, you do realize that's not possible. Right? Like people aren't perfect. And if he had the perfect plan to be a bad person, he would fail, and therefore he would not be bad all the time. Like, I'm just working with where he's coming from, right? No. And then he, you know how they spliced together the video of Trump, and he didn't actually incite things, right? On, I think, January 5th, I think. And he was like, oh, I watched the whole video. That's exactly what happened. So basically lied to me, right? Like, he straight up lied to me and said he watched the whole thing. Wow. And so then I sent him the link, and he was like, oh, this is the one time I've debated with a Trumper about, and they've come up with actual data. No, it's the only time that they've bothered, because they're sick of talking. It's just crazy. It's the Trump derangement center. I haven't had lunch with him since.
Yeah, and here's some money. I voted for Bill Clinton for the first time. You learn to pay more attention, or take C60 Evo, and then you're going to make good decisions about everything.
Yeah, maybe we need to do an episode on voting logic or whatever, and how the mitochondria drives it. And
this could be the introduction to it. Yeah, that's good. I like it.
Well, I just have the one last slide. I don't know if you want to pull that up. People ask about what the journey on the product looks like. We think of it as a 3-month journey, and it has parallels with that most consistent testimonial of taking it in the morning, mental focus and energy during the day, and then better sleep that night. And so month 1, really focus and energy. I like this one particular testimonial. We got some product to an influencer. She took it in the morning, sent her video in that night. And in that video, she pointed out that she didn't finish her cup of coffee. Now, if you're a coffee drinker, not finishing it and noticing it, right? When you notice it, that means you never not finish your coffee. And this time you noticed and didn't. That's a big deal. I used to be a 2 to 3 cup of coffee per day person. I'm now more like a half a cup or a cup. It's part of my routine. I like the smell. I do like the taste. So focus and energy is month 1. Month 2 is we really think about deeper sleep. And I really do believe deeper sleep is happening on month 1. But because everybody gets a little bit more or less sleep every day, it can be hard to pinpoint that there's a consistent improvement over time. You might notice it in dreams, as we've mentioned in this conversation. I lean on my business coach shares that for 50 years, he needed an alarm clock. When he started taking this product, he wakes up before the alarm clock. And that's, whether he's on a late night mixer, late night dinner, none of that matters unless he doesn't get the product for about 10 days. And then he starts to need the alarm clock again. And that coincides with the literature. This molecule clears out of your system in about 10 days. And then finally, If you're thinking about reducing the negative impact of stress mitochondria, or as Patty says, detoxing the mitochondria, you will have systemic benefits, and you will have what we have, which are head to toe testimonials. We have such powerful testimonials. We're not allowed to share them yet. We've actually got to do more research, which is why we're going to be driving 4 clinical trials. The first one is on severe and frequent headaches, because of the testimonials that we've gotten. My personal testimonial, my wife's testimonial, the testimonial of Patty's mom's caretaker. Like, they're just so impressive that we're starting that trial. The next one is HSCRP. So HSCRP stands for high sensitivity C-reactive protein. It is an inflammatory marker typically associated with cardiovascular disease and cancer. We've seen some improvements there. So we're actually working to do a clinical trial on HSCRP. And it's driven out of a doctor. I bumped into him at an event. He had gotten the product to his kind of collection of patients. And he said that it doesn't matter if you're male. I have a video of this, but it doesn't matter if you're male, female, pre-surgery, post-surgery, cardiovascular disease, otherwise healthy. Your product is reducing elevated HSCRPs. And he was talking about 9 down to 0.9. So that's in normal range within 4 to 8 weeks. Additionally, having a positive impact of 20 to 60% on sleep and HRV, which stands for heart rate variability. It's an indication of your body's ability to handle stress. It's a really popular number in the biohacking world to be looking at. And he finished by just saying, we believe this this should be in the employee break room. Like, give my employees access to it because it's so valuable. So that's the HSCRP. We're also doing a more formalized sleep study. I showed you our formalized, kind of ad hoc study already. It was so positive. We're going to do a more formalized. And then we're also going to do a wrinkle and age spot study, because we've got our Skin Reduo set. People absolutely love our Skin Reduo set, giving us great testimonials. There is some literature showing that each of the components is good for wrinkle and age spot. So we're kind of doing the combination with that. And then, that also is supported by our advanced facial serum, which I'm sure we'll talk about on the landing page.
Yeah. And I like that one. I spread that on my face at night because it's helps me sleep, I think, a little bit better.
This one, the advanced. Yeah, that's got, the scent is rosemary, and it is supposed to help you with sleep. That scent is supposed to
relaxation and sleep. Yeah, absolutely. Great.
In addition to the product.
Very cool. Yeah. So about my dream, we can just have a conversation about it. It doesn't have to be, because obviously we don't have any studies on it. And in fact, there's no, at this point, cure or vaccination or anything for this new strain that seems to be taken off in the Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo. But it seems like if your and it could be a mitochondrial thing. If your mitochondria is healthy, that's where the main resistance to a lot of problems that could impact you come from. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, it's interesting because we often get into this conversation once we have this boss theory, right? Once we believe we're reducing the negative impact of stress mitochondria, then I start to ask questions like, will it help my heart? Well, does your heart have mitochondria, right? Will it help my liver? Does your liver cells have mitochondria?
That's the point, yeah.
I just did a quick search, right? What impact does Ebola have on mitochondria? It causes mitochondrial dysfunction and directly interacts with mitochondrial components to trigger massive oxidative stress, right? And that's the massive reactive oxygen species that are grabbed by the ESS60 molecules, so they can't do damage. I'll give you one more analogy, because this, in the context of Ebola, can probably be valuable. Stress is actually good for us, right? I'm not talking about Ebola stress, but stress in general is actually good for us. And I like to picture our physiology like a prairie, right? With beautiful prairie grasses and beautiful prairie flowers. And the gentle rain is the right amount of stress to maintain your physiology, right? But what happens if you get a deep, dark cloud of stress pouring into one spot, right? Like Ebola, pouring into one spot, pouring this oxidative stress. That's where I picture this ESS60 molecule getting between that deep dark cloud and that prairie and acting like a sponge, right? And holding on to that stress. Now, it's important. It's not some magic miracle, molecule that the stress just disappears. It holds on to it. And like a sponge, if you keep pouring that stress on it, eventually it'll fill up. Eventually it'll continue to impinge on the prairie, right? So you do need to manage that. But it does, when that deep dark cloud goes away, now you can gently squeeze that stress onto the prairie, and it hasn't experienced that intense amount of damage in one spot. And so when we're looking at, triggering massive oxidative stress, I'm just quoting the Google search here, then you have this tool that can help hold on to those reactive oxygen species. We really do believe the molecule helps your mitochondria do its natural job.
Wow, that's cool. So good, real quick research on that. Yeah. So
your intuition was right.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
You should unleash it.
In the dream time, I joke with everybody, but it did happen one time where I don't know if I shared this with you, but I had a dream where I was using a lot of soy milk because everybody's like, soy milk's good for you. It's like better than the regular milk if you're kind of allergic to it. And I am allergic to regular milk. So I was like, okay, I'll start drinking it. So I'm drinking it, and then I have a dream, and I have like breast in the dream, and I'm drinking the soy milk. I'm like, okay, no more soy milk. it triggers the estrogen, I found out, and I'm like, okay, little scientific research, but the body, the brain, triggered that response, in the dream time, to like, hey, you need to like maybe back off on that. So, same thing with, because I've talked about, the possibility that this could be a problem for us. So I'm thinking about it, and it comes up in my dream that, C60 Evo is like, could be the protector. It was for me in the dream. So I'm like, okay, I'm definitely going to stay on it, and maybe even, up my dose a little bit. So during this time frame.
And maybe stock up. Like you have plenty, but like just in general, maybe stock up, because if this ends up coming here, then when we sell cases at a really, really good discount as a possibility. You triggered something. Have you ever tried A2 milk?
Yes, I do.
Does that work for you better, or
if I can get I like goat's milk.
Yeah,
and that seems to be really good for me. And Tracy got some sheep yogurt, and God, that's good. So I do alternatives, but yeah, the A2. If I can find, like when I was a young lad, I worked on I work on different ranches and farms and so forth, for extra income. And I remember for a short period of time, I worked on a dairy farm, shoveling the cow poo, and the farmer really took a liking to me because I was a hard worker, and he showed me the raw milk because they take it and they pasteurize it and all that stuff. Yep. So he's like, I'll give you the good stuff. I'm like, okay, because at the time I would drink a gallon of milk a day. I was so into that. I love milk, but as I learned, I have an allergic reaction to it. So, but I tried that milk, and it was like the most exquisite milk. And he gave me some ice cream that was from, non-homogenized. And I'm not going to say that that's about homogenization, because they like to take those YouTube videos down when I start mentioning that. But it is what it is. They believe that if they basically kill all the enzymes and good stuff in the milk by heating it, that it's better for you. So, I try my best to get the raw stuff. It's hard to get because the homogenized milk industry has really captured, America. And that goes all the way back to, Babe Ruth. They'd have like these kiosks before people went in to, do baseball, and they were giving away free homogenized milk. Say it's safe. And they showed Babe Ruth drinking it. So boom, it's done. Everybody's doing homogenized. Whereas before, it really is safe if you get it from a good source. But you know, it's interesting how these things evolve. But that's one of the reasons why I like ESS60. It is definitely super high tech. I love high tech. I I know when things are good. I try things and I'm like, I don't know. Like I've done for one of your competitors, we've talked about it. It's like everybody's like, you got to try this. Everybody's doing it, and I'm like, okay. And it never did anything to me. And I'm very sensitive. I can tell if something's worked. So I'm like, I don't know. And then, you know, we had, you know, somebody that used to be with us that basically told me that it was better than anything else. The stuff you're drinking or using is shit. And I'm like, okay, all right. So I tried it.
She would put it.
Like, right away. I was like, why haven't, you know, it's just one of those things. The supplement industry it's a problem where people bring in, you know, stuff that's just nothing. And it seems like the big guys, you know, kind of lean on CDC and everything, kind of lean on the good stuff. Like, you can't make these claims. But how about these other people that are making claims and it doesn't do any of that? Like, you let them stay out there. So it's interesting, this process, you know, that we have to really do the research, and you've already done it for us. And it's a no-brainer to use this product.
Well, and you mentioned raw milk, right? Because a lot of people, and I think this is the right approach, there's probably some man-made things that are really, really good for us, right? Like, but at the core, it's like what's in nature and what's in our product. You know, the oral consumable is a high quality extra virgin olive oil and as much of the ESS60 molecules we can get to dissolve in it. And that's it. Now, the ESS60 molecule is a naturally occurring molecule. Anybody in your audience who hasn't tried our product, hasn't bought the product, they've been exposed to it. If you collect the soot from a candle, you know, put a cold steel plate over a candle, you'll get that deep, dark soot. That deep, dark soot has parts per million or parts per billion of the ESS60 molecule. So 2 natural ingredients, at least in the oral product.
Yeah, very good. So let's jump into how people can get this magnificent product.
Yeah, well, first, got to make sure you go to the right link, and there's a couple reasons to do that. The right link is c60evo.com/unleashing intuition. Make sure you see Michael there at the top. There is a coupon code. I'm going to kind of go past that because we want you to go to the page to get that coupon code, and that is exclusive to your audience. And this landing page has deals on it that you cannot find on our main website, right? So this is the place to go. We've got deals on a 2-pack, 3-pack, and 6-pack. These are good. I think the 6-pack is about a 20% discount before that coupon code. And the reason we really did 2, 3, 6 is, remember I talked about a 3-month experience on the product. So 3 might be too much for somebody. We want to give them the option for 2. I would lean towards 6. And my thought process is, hey, maybe you want 3 for yourself, and there's somebody that you know who needs this kind of C60 Evo experience. Or you could also be selfish like me. I would probably just keep all 6. And then you can save a little bit extra with the subscribe and save. Even if you're only planning on having, you know, buying 1 package, you can cancel at any time. And I'm going to tell you, our customer service team is amazing. They have 1,000 5-star reviews on Google. They are not trained to talk you out of canceling your service, you know, your subscription. They're trained to help you. They do an amazing job. It just turns out most people stay on subscription. So this is the oral product. We recommend the Inside Out, right? So this is our advanced facial serum and our 4-ounce bottle of the olive oil with the ESS60 molecule. Again, in the 2, 3, and 6, the bigger discount is on the 6. And subscribe and save. Again, even if you're just gonna, by the way, subscribe gives you every 2 months on the 2-pack, every 3 months on the 3-pack, and every 6 months on the 6-pack. You know, that makes perfect sense. But go ahead and take advantage of that, and you can cancel at any time. And then finally, some people don't like the taste of the oil. I'll tell you, it's probably less than 1% of people. It is a high quality extra virgin olive oil, so it does leave a peppery flavor at the back of your throat. By the way, that's a sign of a high quality extra virgin olive oil. But if you don't like the flavor, and the 4-ounce bottle does not go through TSA. We do have smaller bottles. You can find those. There's links kind of at the bottom, but you can choose the capsules as an option. So this is in the capsules. In order to get a full 1 ml, so a standard serving is 5 mils or 1 teaspoon. In order to get 1 teaspoon into capsules, that they're not huge capsules, they're not tiny, but it does take about 6, just so you know. For some of those people, maybe 3 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon. Some people can just, garble pills, no problem. I don't seem to be very good at that. Again, we have the 2, 3, and 6 option, and the subscribe and save is what I would recommend. And then you can see here, we've got the cases. That is where the biggest discount is. You can order any one of our products on case, and we kind of talked about a reason that you might want to do that. We do have other products. I just want to focus on this. As you scroll down towards the end of the page, I like to focus on this because these are the specials that we've put together for your audience, Michael.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Yeah, those are amazing deals. And the cases, the most amazing deal. And there was a time where the cases were like rocking out, and you might see that again. So don't wait, because if they start rocketing out, you might have a little delay, and you might get what you need.
Yeah, there might be a wait time if if you end up waiting.
Yeah, if they do one of those lockdowns or whatever. I don't think a lot of people are going to be savvy to that, but right now the number of people that are dying from this new Ebola is a little bit higher than it has been in the past. So it seems to be a little bit easier to transmissible than the other one. The other one, I think you had to have direct contact. This one, it doesn't seem to be direct contact. I don't know. So there's a lot of information out there. You gotta trust what you see. And for me, I've been right about this stuff in the past. So I've been kind of like doing the alarm bell on this thing. I hope it doesn't come to pass, but you want to be well positioned. Your body needs to be very, very healthy. And ESS60 is definitely the way to go, I believe. And my dream was telling me that's what happened. So it does make a difference. And not just, preventative, but also, like we've talked about, lots of different benefits, better sleep, better neural activity, which, it seems like everybody these days needs a little help there. I don't know why that is, but it is what it is. And so, multiple benefits, soreness, injury, inflammation, all these different things can be helped. It won't help everybody, although I think it might if you do it over a period of time, see the results of it.
And I'll just throw out, we talked about, I had the slide with the FDA and the FTC. So we got to, dot the I's and cross the T's. The FDA has not evaluated our product. It is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure, or prevent any disease. We just share anecdotes. And I always like to say, hey, just assume the anecdotes won't work for you. If you dig into the research, if you kind of understood the research from what I presented and you're interested in trying it, again, go to c60evo.com/unleashing intuition.
Fabulous. And as always, a fantastic show, Chris. I love the science guy. He does. And when I was a little kid, I always loved the science guys. Well, I always watched them.
Every kid wanted to be a military guy, right? I'm not sure that they necessarily wanted to be a Navy SEAL. Like, as you start to learn what it takes to be a Navy SEAL, you're like, okay, just an Army guy, or whatever. Some infantryman is like every kid's. So you're certainly living the dream in that regard. And then the CIA. I mean, what are the movies that people love, like getting into whatever espionage and intrigue and all that stuff. So we have a little bit of mutual envy going back and forth here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and from my experiences and being around the world, this is like one of the best products anywhere. So it's fantastic. That's why I love having you on. And I know a lot of people are or taking the product and using the product in its all its fabulous forms, and at least get the liquid form. And there's some that you can put in your coffee. I have it in my coffee, and then after a little while, I take the liquid. It's fantastic. And then I have capsules, as the British would say, the English, and I take it on the road with it. We take it on the road with us, but it's one of those products I think that it should be everyone should be taking at this point.
I think you're talking about taking it on the road with you. My wife and I really do love to travel. And when we go international, like it can be brutal, right? Like the jet lag can be brutal. We just don't really seem to get impacted by it. The same way my business coach said, after taking the product, he wakes up before the alarm clock. When we get, overseas and we're, I don't know, 13 hours off of our normal schedule, we just do really well. And I'm not saying we're not a little groggy. I'm not saying that there isn't one, and frankly, it's like one extra nap. Like when I used to travel without this, it was like, oh, I need like nap for 3 days to try and get into the right time frame. But again, that mitochondria is not just a power source. It's also kind of interacting with your circadian rhythm. It is providing the energy. So there really is a lot of reasons that that we don't experience jet lag, and we take this product with us when we travel.
Yeah. And we're kind of joking. There's another influencer that just had a kind of like a little problem. It's some heart problem. Nino, the boxer.
Yeah.
And we were joking. He probably survived because he uses ESS60. So, and maybe, we haven't done the study yet, and we can't say that it's going to help everybody, but, of course, but, we kind of joke around that, he's still with us because he started using that product. So thank you.
Yeah, well, Nino's awesome. Really enjoy connecting with him. And if your intuition says that might be a reason, then you've got a history of your intuition being right.
Yeah, absolutely. So get on the product. There's your Rodriguez. Yes, Nino Rodriguez. David Nino Rodriguez. So he's going to be hopefully getting a lot better, and we'll work with him on certain areas, and hopefully that's going to help him out. So Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was thinking about potentially, it depends on if I can put the right information together to talk next time about how ESS60 might be impacting like training. Right. And sometimes I worry about that because, an audience that may not be training like the way you and I do might go, oh, that's not valuable to me. But training is like, hey, you're a walker today, you need to walk farther. Right. Or you're a walker and you're walking far enough. Now you need to jog. Right. Or you're a jogger and you need to be sprinting. I love sprinting. That's one of my favorite exercises to do. So it can work at every level. So that might be the thing that I put together next.
Yeah, that'd be great. And I'm pushing the envelope at 65, so it's definitely it's good because I see a lot of my old compadres. Unfortunately, many of them have passed away, but I'm still kicking it, and I'm older than some of them, and they don't look as young as I do. So definitely the physical side is absolutely I have a very low heart rate. For any age, and I think that's very important. So, and that's a sign of a healthy heart, and a sign of advanced levels of working out. Aerobics, and I'm very anaerobic. I'm doing more weight now than I did in my 20s.
Wow,
so I know it's crazy, right? But it's because of good supplementation. And taking products like you have, introduced to the world. So thank you so much.
Oh, well, thank you for allowing me to spread the word.
Yeah. It's a pleasure and honor as always. So thanks a lot, Chris. And we'll see you guys next time.
Take care, Michael.